Today on the Topping Show, Donald Trump roasts Maine governor who wants men to compete in women's sports. Democrat Representative Jasmine Crockett is irate that Trump and DOGE might give Americans $5,000 back. A poll has Kamala Harris as the frontrunner as a Democrat nominee for the presidential election in 2028. Mercedes is scrapping their weird EV designs. Rivian hits their very first profit, and Tesla has a recall. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's a joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free flamethrower with every IT purchase. Yes, it's real, and it does come with a fun Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15 like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the flamethrower button to learn more, or click the URL in the video description below. Lastly, trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Mercedes scrapping their weird EV designs, finally, after about 18 people bought them. I'm only partially exaggerating. Their sales for one of their EV models crashed over 50% quarter over quarter, which is abysmal to say the least. I tell you which one, but they're all named weird things, and I can't keep track of that. They can't have just cool names like the Chevrolet Camaro or something iconic like the Cadillac CN, which granted was just a really cool concept car, the V12, but again, cool names you remember. You really have to be a diehard enthusiast of Mercedes or BMW for that matter. Remember all the combinations of letters and numbers and yada. But I partially digress. This comes to us thanks to Nico at thedrive.com, in which he says, quote, Mercedes is finally ready to destroy the line between the EV and ICE car designs. Mercedes-Benz Jelly Bean styling for the EVs wasn't cutting it with high-end buyers, so the luxury brand is pivoting on design, which, of course, and again, there are some people who might have appreciated that. Obviously not enough to make a profit because it looks comically bad. It almost looks like a bastardized Tesla, and Mercedes had a baby, and it doesn't look good. It has, again, it's an EV, so it doesn't technically have a grill. It has what looks like to be a sticker of a grill design onto the weird front that, again, does look like a rudimentary jelly bean. Now, diving into the actual article by Nico, they say, quote, and I was going to say, Dare I? No, I was going to say, you don't want to see even more pictures of these abominations. I'll keep the original title picture on there. They say, quote, last year, Mercedes had to change the EQS fake grille design to more gas-like powered S grille, which seemed to be a step in the right direction. Spoiler alert, wasn't. It was not. The same goes for the inside. The EQS not only isn't luxurious like the S-Class, it packs less legroom for the back seat passengers. It's a sedan. It's supposed to have crap load of room. Especially that one. Despite having both S in their name, the electric car felt less grand, and that's something that Mercedes wants to change moving forward. According to Mercedes, the new MMA platform, which is Joe Rogan in here, MMA, that's really what they're calling it. Everyone's going to think of the fighting, but nevertheless, their MMA platform will give its future cars, quote, I don't know who's in charge of this design or this marketing, but this is from Mercedes, quote, emotional design without the compromising prestigious proportions. Sounds fancy. Its new cars will also have, quote, more interior space and layout without restrictions from two drivetrain components at once. Both components seem to aim squarely at the EQS sedan, both inside and out. This is something Mercedes' main German competitor has been saying for a while, though. BMW has been talking about the upcoming, I'll give him credit, it's actually a name, Neon Classe, can't pronounce it right, but it is a name, platform for a couple of years now. And while it's only going to be used for electric cars, the Bavarians don't want its EVs looking much different than the gas-powered cars. They say, quote, the big push with EVs, these technologies, and these designs will transfer over to their entire product portfolio, including other combustion vehicles. For the consumer, it won't be difficult. They will look to get a new modern BMW, and they'll choose the drivetrain. Adrian Van Hooydonk, head of the BMW design group, said, which I'll give him credit for a unique name. They say, but even BMW's pre-NOS class EVs mostly look similar to existing models like the BMW i4, iX3, and iX. Okay, so the i3 was a little weird, but that was a little infancy of the mass EV adoption, so it's understandable. BMW want to experiment, which the i3 looked really cool. Very disappointing powertrain. Ugh, yeah. They say even most of Audi's EVs look pretty conventional. Many of them are indistinguishable from their gas-powered counterparts. It's almost impossible to tell the Audi Q8 e-tron is anything more than a regular four-ringed SUV unless you look closely. Even the spiciest EV, the e-tron GT, looks more like any other go-fast Audi sedan, albeit, well, they say it's not me, albeit a beautiful one. It seems the upcoming Mercedes CLA class will be its first MMA model. In its presentation, it shows one CLA design can house either electric motors or a four-cylinder engine? What's more disappointing for Mercedes, an EV or a four-cylinder? Again, I love my Honda Civic Si. It's got four cylinders of glory, and a turbo has for decades. That's what people expect. But Mercedes with a four-banger, let's just say I don't think it's going to be a top seller. Four cylinders for Mercedes, geez Louise. But this new philosophy has been applied to all Mercs as they develop, including quote entry-level models like the CLA, and its core like the C and E-Class, and its top-end models like the S-Class. That way, Mercedes can offer a BMW-like choice for its customers, pick a new Mercedes model, and choose the drivetrain, which, I think it's kind of disappointing because, well, gas is always going to be better in most metrics, but, yeah, we'll see. I mean, sales can't get much worse for Mercedes, and I think they just need to make them look like regular cars. For cost amortization, I understand why they probably just wanted to use the same exact body panels and all like that, which I actually don't think is a good idea because you're going to take away from the glory that is your reliable good cars. But let me know your thoughts in the comments because, as always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, Rivian posted their very first profit. It finally happens. Oh my gosh, it's a thing. Took them years. Granted, their stock isn't being rewarded, but they finally did make a profit, or quarterly profit specifically. Now, not financial advice, but let's look at their stock before we dive into the statistics on, the actual earnings, which the stock is comically bad to say the least, on par perhaps with Black Rifle Coffee Company in terms of performance. Now, since its IPO, they've lost, or the past 5 years, they've lost 90.02% of their stock value. Ouch. So, thank God, hindsight's always 2020 when it comes to investing, not financial advice. 5 years ago, they were $129.95 per share. Now they're $12.97. That's less than a meal at McDonald's. You can get a piece of Rivian, which I would not recommend, though. I have to clarify, not legal advice. Good old American lawsuits, always have to delineate that. And oh my gosh, their market cap is only $13 billion, which, again, for a big automotive company, or what is actually, yeah, that's probably one of the smallest in the automotive community. Far from the trillions of Tesla, but yeah, the average they're not doing good. 52-week low, the year range was, the lowest was $8.26 per share. Ouch. But they finally did make a profit. Oh, sorry, wrong article. There we go. Let's get one of those funny looking Rivians on screen, which, I'll give them credit. They at least look quirky and unique. Not that I'd buy it because they only have two pedals, also known as an automatic transmission. Obviously, not my cup of tea. Though, I'm American. I don't drink tea. I drink coffee, which ironically isn't made here. But nevertheless, it's I was about to say it's brewed here. It's roasted here, so there's something there. But nevertheless, they say, quote, Rivian beats Wall Street fourth quarter expectations, but expectations for the deliveries for 2025 are to decrease. Now, they say that for 2025, Rivian also expects to narrow its adjusted losses to a range of $1.7 billion to $1.9 billion, down from a loss of $2.69 billion in 2024. Ouch. Rivian's quarterly gross profit and revenue, as expected, were assisted by $299 million in the sale of regulatory credits, also known as bullshit. That's how, they're selling credits to other automotive companies, which Tesla, don't get me wrong, Tesla did that as well. I think it's ridiculous. Our government has all these ridiculous manipulations of the market. It's not really free as it should be. But yeah, they made $299 million just in the sale of regulatory credits, as well as $214 million in software and services. Yeah, they're also bolstered by VW doing a big investment and pumping some money into that company. Now, they say, quote, the electric automotive manufacturer reported gross profit, which included the production and sale, but did not factor in other expenses, such as $170 million during the final quarter last year. Rivian said it plans to achieve, quote, another modest gross profit in 2025, It is not said what it expects to be profitable in a bottom line basis, however. 2025, Rivian also expects to reduce suggested losses to a range of 1.7 billion to 1.9 billion. Now, the company forecasts deliveries of 46,000 units to 51,000 units for 2025, compared to 51,579 vehicles delivered last year. Now, they said the stock's been up and down, left and right. Rivian CEO RJ Scaringe told CNBC there is, quote, a lot of uncertainty, quote, surrounding the automotive industry, specifically the potential removal of the bribery, the federal incentives for EVs, as well as possible tariffs, which, yeah, it's a big incentive to buy a disposable car, also known as an EV, $7,500 tax credit. That's a pretty big one. Now, it'd be hilarious. He would never do it, but it'd be kind of hilarious if Trump did the opposite. The new automotive tax credit is $7,500 off if you buy any V8 or V10 or V12 with a stick shift. Make America shift again, which he would never do, but it would be kind of awesome if he did. Now, they continue saying, quote, we believe external factors could impact our 2025 expectations, including changes to the government policies and regulations and a challenging demand environment. While uncertainties persist, we remain focused on executing against our key value drivers and are confident in electrifying the world in long term. That's from their shareholder letter. They also note that for 2025 guidance, Rivian's chief financial officer, Claire McDaniel, said the company took into account, quote, hundreds of millions of dollars in expected hits to its EBITDA as a result of less sales due to expected removal of tax credits. Rivian said it expects capital expenditures this year between $1.6 and $1.7 billion, increased from $1.41 billion last year, as it prepares to launch its new R2 mid-size vehicles for 2026. The company says it expects to idle its sole auto plant in Normal, Illinois, which perhaps is the most boring name of a city ever, but it's a place, during the second half of the year to retool for the new designs. This is, again, going to CFO, quote, we believe R2 will be truly transformative with our growth and profitability. Which, of all the crap Disney does in terms of collaboration and branding, the fact that it's not R2D2 seems like a lost marketing opportunity. But nevertheless, they say, here's how the company performed in the fourth quarter compared to the average estimates compiled by LSEG. Loss per share were 46 cents compared to a loss of 65 cents expected. The revenue came in at $1.73 billion, which is a lot more than I thought, compared to the $1.4 billion that was expected. They say at the beginning of this quarterly report, Rivian breaks its automotive and software and services units for additional transparency to investors. The automaker has plans to continue to grow its software business, including a new joint venture with German automaker Volkswagen. They say that Rivian's quarterly gross profit and revenue were helped by $299 million for the regulatory credits, and then the software is at $214 million. Net loss for the fourth quarter was $743 million, or 70 cents per share. Now, for the full year, Rivian lost, $4.75 billion, which is a pretty penny to say the least. Which, yeah, that's pretty rough. They do say that 2024 revenue came in at $4.97 billion, which was a 12% increase from the $4.3 billion from 2023. They also note that fourth quarter revenue was up more than 31% from the prior year-over-year period. So, again, they're technically moving in the right direction, but there's so much uncertainty. And also, without massive tariffs, I suspect BYD, the EV, as well as hybrid manufacturer out of China, or as Trump would say, China, that's going to take over pretty much every market in terms of automotive sales. So that's really the big elephant, or perhaps the big panda in the room, so to say, when it comes from competitors outside the country. Also, again, I'm not a big fan of GM. They make the CT4V Blackwing is pretty legit. Same with the CT5V Blackwing. Both come with a stick shift option. But, GM, to their credit, they are, mass-produced the crap out of those EV Chevy Blazers, which, reliability, but they are getting units out the door. Somewhat, I was about to say reliably. They move sometimes. But there is more and more competition from the conventional automotive companies. And without that tax incentive, I think that's going to be a big hit when it comes to EV sales in 2025. And also, a thing that is hurting many automotive companies, not just Rivian, interest rates. Like a high schooler, I still look at the cars.com and the autotrader.com and I'll, window shop and wish upon things. And it is just so viscerally disgusting to see the average interest rates on those calculators at like 10%. That is a deal killer for a lot of folks and many people who can do, pretty much anyone that can do math. But yeah, that's a big deal killer for a lot of folks. 10% interest on a car, a depreciating asset. And don't get me wrong, some cars hold their value better than others, like, iconic Porsche 911s. There are some cars that will hold their value better than others, but overall, like, most automobiles go down in value the second you rolled off the lot, and with every mile you subsequently drive from there. Or if you buy a Range Rover, every additional day it waits in the shop being repaired, you don't get a lot of miles put on those. But in all seriousness, is 10+% interest rate for a vehicle. You have economic uncertainty, a lot of layoffs in the software industry in terms of industry layoffs. And when I guess who would buy these things, on average, a lot of my tech people buy them. A lot of my tech friends have bought them. I know a friend that bought a Rivian and he loves it. He's got the funny, quirky looking truck thingamajig. He likes it. But when you go after the mass adoption of EVs, most people don't trust EVs to have it as a primary vehicle, which makes sense. It's mostly a toy and even more disposable than any other car out there, just because, again, the Achilles heel of EV is the battery for now. They might very well make a new one tomorrow that's magical and perfect and will get rid of all the worries, but no, not at the moment. So there's a lot of uncertainty with Rivian. And again, it's something you don't need. So I'm just even more pessimistic. The category of automobile that right now has the highest adoption rate in the United States is the hybrid technologies. Again, not a fan, but Toyota read the room right, where everyone else is going all in on EV research and development dollars. Toyota put over $7 billion into hybrid technology research and development, which is paying off in dividends for the 5th year in a row. The largest automotive company on the planet is Toyota. So they read the room right, and they're being rewarded. So we'll see what comes in the future for Rivian, but let's just say I'm pretty pessimistic. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the cultural part podcast, you have Trump roasting the Maine governor who wants men to compete in women's sports. Which, culturally speaking, I mean, Trump did win not just the electoral college, but the popular vote. I think most people on the planet, including Americans, they don't want men competing in women's sports. I don't think it's, a couple years ago, this was taboo, so controversial. I think a lot of folks are fed up with it. They realize you're, not just physically hurting women, especially in contact sports, but you're also stealing away their opportunities with scholarships, as well as opportunities to get into, advance their career, not just collegiately for scholarships to save money, but also those that actually want to do the career, doing athletics as a career as well. So I think more and more people are starting to see the downside of this and just how absurd it is completely. Now, this comes with thanks to End Wokeness, in which he says, quote, 911, I would like to report a homicide. Or homicide. How do you pronounce that? How do you pronounce it? Let me know in the comments. But without too much further ado, here's Trump suited up as always, as all men do.
The NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it, because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply, because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor, because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
Oh, as youth might say, roasted. No, I thought they'd go get millions of views. They only got about 500,000 views and 18,000 likes. One of the first comments coming from Paul Zazupa saying, quote, best part is Maine is now not going to get any federal dollars, FAFO, getting 80 likes. Which, I was going to say, what is the point of Maine now that I think about it? I know they have lobster and lighthouses. But what else does Maine do for us? Lighthouses, lobsters. Let me see. Let's go. Biggest economy in Maine. What is Maine known for? Seems like biggest GDP contributors in Maine. Kind of like, it's one of those states people forget it's a state. It's like, that's really a state? What do they do? They've been around for a while, of course. Literally nothing. So they contributed a couple $1 billion, $6 billion is all they contributed in GDP. Yeah, again, it's a lot of money as an individual, but in terms of state contributions. So it looks like most of the money comes from real estate, rental and leasing, business services, and healthcare. Let's see, now I got to see. Largest companies, let's see, Fortune 500 companies in Maine. We're having a trivia night, folks. We'll look up some fun facts. It's got to be at least one, statistically speaking. They even have one. Don't get me wrong, I'm a small business owner. It's backbone of the economy, but you usually want your state to have one or two big companies to help, well, not just bolster kind of that ripple effect. More businesses want to be there because, businesses do a lot of business to business consulting and, work with each other. But yeah, nothing. I guess WEX is headquartered there. They are number 72. Oh, they're the fastest growing company, but yeah, WEX is there. So that's close. IDEX Laboratories, they say close. That's in the Fortune 1000, which again, that's something. But yeah, that's news to me. Maine they do something, but not much. Now, yeah, Libercat Media TM saying, quote, yes, like a boss. And it's a picture of Trump and JD Vance that says, we're not tired of winning yet, getting 75 likes. American Papa Bear says, quote, bodied, 0 Fs given, final from Trump, getting 244 likes. Mark saying, do Minnesota next? State law permits boys to compete in girls' sports, pull federal funding until they comply. This is a screenshot from CBS News saying, quote, AG Keith Ellison says transgender athlete ban violates Minnesota Human Rights Act, which is mentally vacuous as well. 62 likes for that. Yeah, Human Rights Act. I think girls have a human right not to have the crap beaten out of them by boys in sports. Pretty sure that violates their rights by you allowing this insanity. Now, Minnesota at least has some companies you would think of in terms of GDP and contributing something to society, in terms of innovation. Perhaps the best known thing would be like 3M. Perhaps the most, I'd say their most famous engineering company in hundreds of years, in terms of all the patents and all the industries that they touch. I mean, and they have Target for the people who want to spend more on basics instead of just shopping at Walmart like the regular folks we do. You got Target and 3M over in Minnesota, but it's so damn cold I can't imagine living there. Nevertheless, that got 62 likes. Yeah, David Santa Clara saying, quote, all I'm saying is this is who is fighting hard for men to play women's sports. It's a trans individual getting 348 likes. You have whale psychiatrist saying psychiatrist. That's a really awkward job. Usually you sit on the couch, at least that's what they do in the movies. I mean, how would the whale sit on the couch? Maybe you have the couch go underwater like an aquarium couch. You have to pay more, obviously, to waterproof that couch. But I'm sure the ROI was there. You can charge enough for the sessions, perhaps. But in all seriousness, they say, quote, he is the greatest American who has ever lived, getting 108 likes. Alex Finn says this is unbelievably savage, getting 50 likes. Lori says, yeah, Trump smoked this mayor. Be stupid on national television. Goodness, Trump slayed you, getting 75 likes. Starlit Sky says, enjoy your life after governor because I don't think he'll be in elected politics. Someone get this woman a Neosporin, which, creepy looking. Getting 102 likes. So, yeah, I think culturally speaking, we're done with the, Servile says she looks about like you'd expect, which almost looks like a more decrepit, Elizabeth Warren, yeah. Just saying something. They got 263 likes. So, but I think on average, we're done with the men competing in women's sports. And I think an overwhelming majority of Americans agree. But let me know your thoughts and comments, because as always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Democrat Representative Jasmine Crockett is irate that Trump and DOGE might give Americans $5,000 back into their pocket. This comes to us thanks to Defined L's on the good old X, in which, he simply just quotes hers without too much further ado. I'll go ahead. And again, maybe she has some articulate ideals of why she disagrees with this. And probably not, but we'll go ahead and dive on in.
Now, President Trump says he likes the idea of giving some of the savings from DOGE back to Americans as kind of a dividend. Would you support that?
Listen, he's just telling a lie. He's not the one that had anything to do with the $1,200 refunds that people had during the midst of COVID. That was done by a Democratic House and Democratic Senate. Right now, what they're going to do is say, hey, we want to give you a refund, but Congress won't let us, because they already know that there's just no money for that. The only reason that those refunds came before was because we were living in different times. This was a time.
Come on. Let's see here.
Times. This was a time in which hopefully we won't ever go through again. We had a once in a lifetime pandemic. The bad part is that I don't know if it's once in a lifetime because we know that Ebola, unfortunately, was detected right here in New York here recently. And if we continue down this road of getting rid of scientists or deciding that we don't want to rely on experts as it relates to what they're telling us to do, or we don't want to deal with vaccines and medicine in this country, then we may be facing not only our next pandemic, but our next 2, 3, or 4 pandemics because of their incompetence. So no, we are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you.
That's when you know you're an elitist. I don't know what $5,000 will do for you. For a lot of folks, that'd be life changing. That's a lot. That's a month's rent. That's a lot of groceries. And yeah, she's mentally vacuous, obviously. Maybe stop funding all these biolab research places that keep having these suspicious leaks. Maybe that'd be a good idea. I think that'd be prudent. Now, this didn't go as far as I thought it could. We got about 200,000 views and 3.1 thousand likes. Now, I mean, I would understand if she had she doesn't have modicum of intelligence. If she did, I think I could understand perspective and concern that perhaps, giving all that money out could potentially cause inflation. A lot of people might argue that it would boost the economy since, let's be honest, most people aren't going to save that money. They're going to probably spend it on stuff they don't need. That, again, that's good for the economy because you're buying, knickknacks from the Walmart or the Target or all that kind of stuff. But yeah, just saying, again, with all the stuff Elon is cutting and all the stuff, all the corruption we're fighting with DOGE, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually do have a surplus, even after paying China all the money we owe them throughout the years. The ridiculous, the amount of money you have to pay just on the principal of the loans that we have out in our country, again, $36 trillion in debt is ridiculous. But again, if you cut deep enough and get rid of all the corruption in government, it's not inconceivable that it could have money left over. And we're seeing billions and trillions of dollars that's wasted and stolen. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Now, go to the mass comment section. You have, I'm a little biased, but I think this person is especially handsome and brilliant. It's me, hashtag the topping show on X, and I say, quote, nothing angers leftists more than helping taxpayers, getting 2 likes. American Cheese, interesting name. They do have a cheese emoji in their name, though, however. Says, quote, follow dark money. And it's Representative Jasmine looking pretty frumpy in that outfit, which saying something. I'm not visually appealing for most of myself, but nevertheless, standing next to George Soros' son, which looks especially creepy. Though he did suit up. He did something right. Got 49 likes. Which, let's see here. Going down, you have Crazy Vibe saying, quote, LMFAO, DOGE is clearly showing that giving money out is exactly what the business of Congress has been, and that business has been rife with fraud and corruption, or criminality, sorry. Representative Jasmine, you're an idiot, not worth to represent any portion of the great state of Texas. Fact check committee notes as confirmed true. Got 165 likes. You also have Advocate for Education says, quote, yeah. I won't go into the explicitives, but saying, oh my God, I'm dying. She says, quote, not in the business of giving out money, unquote. So what do you call fundraising Ukraine and giving illegals free rides to our taxes? Yeah. And she goes, I don't know what $5,000 is going to do for you. Seriously, $5,000 will do a shitload with my family and I. That's how bad the average American is doing, getting 126 likes, which, yeah, $5,000 is huge. As Trump would say, huge, the greatest dividend of all time, makes Coca-Cola dividends look weak in comparison. 5,000 American dungaroos for us, folks. I might even have a special dollar with picture of me and a bald eagle driving a Camaro with a stick shift and a V12, a first. But nevertheless, it's one of those things where, yeah, $5,000, that's for most people an inconceivable amount of money. The average American doesn't even have a couple $100 in their savings account. A lot of people are struggling. $5,000 would really help a lot of folks. Now, I do understand the concern that it could cause inflation. That's a valid concern. If she had any modicum of intelligence, she would actually use, an intellectual argument. She didn't. Obviously, she doesn't. But that is a valid concern. I can understand that perspective, and that could be a ripple effect. That's not good to have more inflation. But in terms of saying that wouldn't help people, yeah, it would help people. And also, if we keep cutting all the crap, we may very well have a surplus. We'll see how much they uncover in terms of corruption with DOGE and Elon. Now, you also have Rhea saying, Jasmine, I bet your constituents would love to do with $5,000. And do they know you've gained $9 million in 2 short years? DOGE will be investigating you and others. Good luck getting 74 likes. Yep, investigate every politician. Why are they only paid hundreds of thousands, but they're worth millions? First private class Kelly says, quote, "We're not in business of giving out money." That's literally the primary article power for you out of the legislator. How does this upper middle class raised, well-educated actress with a ghetto shtick not know this? Getting 83 likes. The Dogfather says, quote, "Correction, they are not in the business of giving money to Americans. However, every illegal foreign news platform and Tim Pot dictator can expect their checks tomorrow." Getting 282, let's make it 283 likes, because, yeah. Again, weekend Ukraine, what was it, $180 billion? Billion! And yet, Democrats said we don't have money to build a wall on the southern border that would have cost estimated between $12 and $18 billion. Yeah, we got $181 billion to give Ukraine, but we didn't have $13 to $18 billion for our own southern border. Really? Yeah, I never want to hear that argument again. Though I'm sure they'll use it ad nauseum because original ideals and articulation is not leftist strong point. You have Moon Pie G saying, quote, "What? Oh, what's reparations then? You're funding that with air? How about all the money you give out to illegals? Sit your ghetto peach down?" Getting 229 likes, which, yeah, she's also one of the folks who's advocating for that, which I think culturally would divide our country even more and do more harm than good. You also have Meredith Moment saying Doge, and this picture of Elon Musk with Javier Milei, and they have a gold-plated chainsaw in this AI picture. That got, what was this, 11 likes. Oh, here's a interesting. So Lee Liberty says, quote, and she post a video from August 9, 2024, which Congressman Jasmine Crockett suggests they should exempt blacks from taxes. Really?
This past week, I saw, I don't remember which celebrity, but it was actually a celebrity, and I was like, I don't know that that's not necessarily a bad idea, but I'd have to think through it a lot. One of the things that they propose is black folk not have to pay taxes for a certain amount of time, because then again, that puts money back in your pocket, but at the same time, it may not be as objectionable to some people about actually giving out dollars. But obviously then you start dealing with the different tax brackets and things like that. And that's one of the reasons that, you know, we argue the reparations make sense, because so many black folk, not only do you owe for the labor that was stolen and killed and all the other things, right? But the fact is, like, we end up being so far behind, right? And so it's like, how do you bring...
Fun fact, this is why it's so laughably absurd. If you look at where African Americans make the most money on the planet, spoiler alert, America, land of opportunity. Also, which race makes most money in America? Indian American. Fun fact.
Fourth,
followed by Asian American.
Exactly. And so it's like, if you do the no tax thing for people that are already, say, struggling and aren't really paying taxes in the first place, it doesn't really exactly.
They may want those checks like they got during COVID.
Exactly.
That got 13 likes. Let me pull up some data here. Looks like, oh, I was wrong. So it looks like on an individual level, Asian men and women have the top earnings in the United States, according to AI from Elon Musk and X called Grok. So they say, basically speaking, Asian Americans are the richest group with the most money in the U.S., followed by Indian Americans, and Taiwanese. Well, breaks it down pretty detailed here. But yeah, land of opportunity. But yeah, and again, this might just be more posturing for her to get some more people to donate to her and bolster her future political career. Yeah, Big Town Callahan said, quote, "I can't believe these words came out of a Democrat's mouth," getting 486 likes. Sean Ocean says, "An awesome political ad," call emoji, getting 29 likes. Let's see. And not seeing any contrarian statements thus far. Bart Andrew says, "There's a problem. She's thinking it's her money, not ours," getting 28 likes, which it'd be nice to get some of that back. Somebody name of Rot Thornhill says, "No reparations for you," then getting 30 likes. Which, yeah. Shadow Wrestler says, "Wouldn't you just love to see this woman's SAT score?" Getting 28 likes. Probably not the best. Senior Blanco says, "More than the $700 previous administration gave to the disaster resistant victims," dipshit. Getting 18 likes. So, yeah. Again, we'll see if this bolsters her political career. But, yeah, for a lot of folks, $5,000 would be life-changing. But let me know in the comments, do you think that'd be more harm than good in terms of causing, you know, additional inflation And do you think she might be the next forerunner for Democrat Party in terms of, who knows, future presidential nominees? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Kamala Harris apparently being the Democrat forerunner for the 2028 presidential election. Please, please vote for her again. Well, no, they actually never voted for her. They installed her the first time. Actually, yeah, we'll see if they vote for her. I think they should. This comes from Leading Report saying, quote, breaking, Kamala Harris remains the Democrat frontrunner for the president in 2028 by 26 points per Survey USA, which that is, I mean, perhaps it also shows how abysmal the pool is of prospective presidential nominees in the Democrat Party, that she is your frontrunner. The person who only won in states that don't check voter ID, the person who couldn't even win California in the primary, the person who basically just slept her way to the top. Not very inspiring story for the ladies also. Yeah, Kamala Harris, the gun grabbing, high tax, high regulation gal, who list of accomplishments include signing off on the Inflation Reduction Act, which of course ironically named because it caused ridiculous inflation in the United States, and pretty much every bad policy, including opening the southern border, having no border security. That's their forerunner. That's a front runner. Now, this only got about 250,000 views and 3.2 thousand likes. One of the first comments coming from Chuck Costello saying, quote, if that's your best option, then that's just sad, getting 287 likes, which, yeah. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, this makes me laugh every time I see it, getting 4,000 likes. Valentina Gomez also says, yes, please have her run, getting 174 likes. Matt Von Swol says, can you imagine J.D. Vance running against Kamala Harris? Oh my goodness, getting 1.6 thousand likes. Which, yeah, that would, I mean, the debates would be hilarious. I mean, the juxtaposition between two intellectual level and their personalities. I mean, J.D. Vance just wiped the floor with her. Again, her interviews are so bad, I think it was illegal of them to do this. But, I mean, you had 60 Minutes and all these new outlets censoring all the worst parts of her. And even then, she sounded mentally vacuous. I mean, the upside is she's so awkward and terrible at speaking. She makes me look like a scholar and a brilliant speaker by comparison. So perhaps part of me should thank her and like her in that regard. But yeah, the most socially awkward. I mean, they were literally just running on hopes and dreams and joy that's what they said. Again, because every time it took months to actually have her come up with any ideas at all. Many of them just copied Trump, and the other ones were just so abysmally abhorrent. A lot of people said, hell no. I mean, she wanted to put a tax on unrealized capital gains, which, as we all know, every single tax since they've ever started them, they do start with the rich, and then they go after everyone. And every time they say a tax is going to be limited, it's always unlimited to the end. It's always expand. Land and expand is all they do with taxes. Left and right, don't get me wrong. And they want to tax things that didn't exist, like unrealized gains. That's so asinine. Now you have Jules Rum saying, quote, the Democrat Party remains retarded, getting 669 likes. Let's see here. We also have Modern Problems saying, quote, Kamal's father was a prominent Marxist professor who wrote this book on modern day Marxism. And his book is called, quote, Capital Accumulation and the Income Distribution, which I got 25 likes. Yeah. Coyote Gray Sr. has a picture of the Titanic labeled the Democrat Party, getting 291 likes. Sarah Rose says, please run, getting 658 likes. Julie says, no thanks, we don't want your cackles. It's just a zoom in on her face, getting 21 likes. Let's see here. Dr. Dawn Michael says, sorry, there is something seriously wrong with the Democrat Party, getting 83 likes. Retarded Publicist says, quote, definitely Harris AOC. It says, Kamala Harris AOC, when you drink so much, you need a bartender on your ticket. Getting 15 likes, which, yeah. A lot of people allege that Kamala Harris was drinking a lot throughout her campaign and when she's in office. So again, maybe this is something where the left and right, our country all agrees she should run. I mean, Lord knows, if I had to choose who I want running in 2028, oh yeah, put her on the ticket. The person who couldn't even win one state in the primary, the person who no one voted for, they installed her, and some people, I suspect they voted for her, the people who did vote for her in the actual election, they were just voting against Trump. I have yet to find one person of intellect who said, I'm a big fan of Kamala Harris. She is great because of A, B, and C. Again, I think we should have more educated votes in general. If you can't give 3 bullet points in terms of past career accomplishments or propose new ideas of why you're voting for someone, I almost think your vote shouldn't count. It should be an educated vote. And again, no one can give me 3 bullet points of why Kamala Harris. She tried to bribe people by giving money away. I mean, it's just ridiculous. She said she's going to go after guns. If Congress didn't act, she was going to confiscate the AR-15, the most popular rifle by design and units sold. Yeah, led our country over hyperinflation, had the worst southern border in history. One more meme, or I guess it's just 2 pictures. It's Steel Pond says Trump broke her. You have a picture of her when she first got installed, and then when she was done. Which, yeah, again, everyone ages. Trump didn't, but most people age when they get into politics. Some more gracefully than others. She obviously did. They got 86 likes. So yeah, they're saying Kamala Harris is gonna be their front runner, and shoot, you know what? I hope she is. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Tesla having to recall 380,000 vehicles, which is not great. Now, this comes to us thanks to CNN Business, which somehow still in business. I'm pretty sure they have 5 employees left. And this is also reposted by Reuters. But nevertheless, they say, quote, Tesla recalls 380,000 vehicles in the U.S. over power steering assist issue. Here you see the iconic Tesla logo. Now they say, quote, Tesla said it's recalling nearly 380,000 vehicles in the U.S. due to a power steering assist failure that could increase the steering effort, particularly at low speeds, potentially raising the risk of a crash. The recall follows more than 1-year-long probe by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration after some Tesla owners reported steering failures. With some unable to turn the wheel while others cited increased effort, more than 50 vehicles were allegedly towed due to the issue. Now, they say Reuters reported this in late 2023 after tens of thousands of owners had experienced premature failures of suspension or steering problems since 2016, citing Tesla documentation and interviews with customers and former employees. In a filing with the FHTSA, Tesla said some 2023 Model 3 sedans and Model Y crossovers running older software could face an over-voltage problem, potentially oversteering motor drive components on the printed circuit board. Tesla said that this overstress condition occurs when the vehicle is in motion, the steering remains unaffected, and the visual alert is triggered. But once the vehicle stops, the steering assist may fail and remain disabled when it moves again. They also noted that on January 10th, Tesla identified 3,012 warranty claims that are related to or may be in relation to this condition. They say it's not aware of any crashes or deaths related to the condition. However, the company has also released their over-the-wire updates to fix the issue, it said. This recall makes the automaker's second largest recall this year, following the January recall of about 239,000 vehicles due to malfunctioning rear view cameras, which, not great. And again, Tesla has already had a lot of recalls. Personally, if you can fix it over the air, I don't think they should count as a recall against any company. I think it should be you have to go to the dealership or to a service station in this case, since they don't have dealerships, and actually get the car worked on physically. Because again, if it's updated overnight, you can't even tell. I don't think personally that should be a recall. And again, thankfully, I mean, there's been some reports, but no one's passed away because of this incident. You know, there's no loss of life that we can tell. But again, Tesla is already getting more and more recalls and kind of chiseling away at their reputation. I gotta say, Elon and Tesla, that is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in again. Try to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.